juvenile offenders really ought to be treated differently.
In recent years, crime in this country has grown 9 times as fast as population.
I am the law and order candidate.
I was going to a prison not too long ago, and I parked my car outside this prison, and this truck was there. And some of y'all who live in the South see these things all the time. And this truck was like a shrine to the Old South. It had all of these bumper stickers on it. It had the Confederate flags everywhere. It had the gun rock. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I went upside, and there was a white guard standing at the prison door when I got there. And he grabbed me by the arm and said, "Wait, let me ask you something." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Did you see that truck out there with all those bumper stickers and flags?" I said, "Yeah, I saw that truck." He said, "I want you to know that that's my truck." Really antagonized me.
Baton Rouge, Dallas, Orlando, on top of terrorist attacks and crises abroad, the constant looming specter of violence, often tinged here at home with racial tension, has Americans on edge and has returned the theme of law and order to a prominence in American politics it has not held in decades.
I was sitting there waiting for my client to come into. I'd never met this client before, and I was sitting there just angry. And the client came in, a young African-American man. I knew he had some mental health problems, but I didn't know much more about him. And this young man came in, he sat down, and he turned to me, and the first thing he said to me was, quote, "Did you bring me a chocolate milkshake?" And so I put my pen down and said, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't know you wanted me to bring you a chocolate milkshake. Next time I come, if they let me, I'll bring you a chocolate milkshake." And this man smiled and smiled and smiled. He was terribly mentally disabled. Horribly abused as a child.
And our prisons violate international standards. Solitary confinement increases instability and violence in inmates and is considered by international law to be torture. But in America, it's not regulated by anyone except the prison officials. No judge, no jury.
Juvenile court provides age-appropriate interventions that are designed to take advantage of the fact that the teenage brain is still malleable, that kids' characters are still forming.
But millions of prisoners are released each year. Today's prisoners are tomorrow's neighbors, so corrections should probably be the most important piece of the incarceration pie. Unfortunately, it is not.
Taxpayers are paying about $80 billion a year to keep so many people in prison. The price of incarcerating a single inmate is often more than $30,000 per year and up to $60,000 in some states. That's the salary of a teacher or a police officer.
We need to fix the laws in a handful of states, in places like New York and North Carolina and Texas, a handful of other places, that say that you're an adult for all criminal justice purposes when you turn 16 or 17. There's something really wrong about being considered an adult in the eyes of the court before you're old enough to vote or even to serve on the jury that convicted you.
He said, "But I'm going to tell you something." He says, "I think what you're doing is a good thing." And then he looked at me and says, "I hope you keep fighting for justice. So I just want you to know I did something on the way back from the courthouse." I said, "What'd you do?" I said, "Well, I took an exit and I took your client to a Wendy's and I bought him a chocolate milkshake."